So I'll start the session. So Radhe Radhe, today we are going to actually finish this Canto 1. So we're going to take the chapter 18 and 19. So before that, let's do the invocation. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsacharnuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right. So let's do a brief recap. So in the previous session, we saw that King Parikshit ruled very virtuously, and he was a noble king, and he continued the Pandava legacies with wisdom and devotion. But then the moment Krishna left Earth, Kali Yuga has begun. So he's heard news of unrighteousness in various places, and wherever he heard, he actually went and defended those places and made it as his own kingdom. So when he did that, Kali actually had no place to go. Meanwhile, one day he came across the situation where he saw a bull and a cow uh, crying. And on going near them, he heard their conversation where he realized later that the cow was a personification of Mother Earth, and the bull was a personification of Dharma. And Dharma had one leg on which it was standing, which was the truthfulness for Kali Yuga. And the cow was mourning because Krishna has departed, and there was decline in Dharma, and everybody was suffering, and she was fearing more suffering in future. So when he saw that, when he went more nearer, he saw that Kali actually, that is the unrighteousness was happening. A man dressed as a kingly person, a noble man, was actually hitting the cow and the bull. So when he actually tried to defend them and understood that this is Kali and tried to punish, Kali immediately surrendered. So now King Parikshit, who will not do anything to a surrendered soul, he said, okay, but you cannot be, I will let you go, but you cannot be here in my kingdom. Then he says that wherever I go, you come. So I have no place to go. So tell me, where should I reside so that, I will be there only. So he said, okay, I'm giving you 4 places: gambling, drinking, illicit relationships, and slaughterhouse. But then Kali was insisted, no, I need more. Then he said, okay, go, you can stay in gold also, marking the abode of unrighteousness. So then Kali actually was happy. He went and he stood on those places because now he's got good areas. So it also resembles that, money will be with everyone, right? Gold, and at that time was usually in, money was usually in gold. So it will be with everyone. So in that way he can be with everyone. Then after Kali leaves, Parikshit restores the 3 legs of Dharma, represented by austerity, charity, and compassion, truthfulness, and he brings comfort to Mother Earth. That means the righteousness um, is there, and the unrighteousness is limited to certain places. And then he starts ruling, and his righteous rule, as long as he was there, the ruling was righteous, and it ensured that justice and Dharma flourished in his kingdom, making him a celebrated and revered ruler. So, this is what we've learned in the previous chapter. So, this chapter basically deals with um, the youth, uh, the youthful sage Shringi utters an imprecation which is curse against King Parikshit. So, let's see what happened that led to the situation. So, after explaining in the previous session, or after Sutta explains that he has been King Parikshit was ruling in a very righteous manner, something happened. So he's giving um, um, a brief overview, which makes Shaunaka Munis ask further questions. So he says, even though King Parikshit was attacked by a deadly weapon from Ashwatthama while still in mother's womb, he was saved by Lord Krishna's grace. So we know that. Then after that, King Parikshit um, was cursed, okay, and he was told that he will be dying by the hands of snake Takshaka. Still, he lived. So, this is a brief introduction. So, he's like, still, he lived fearlessly, even though he knew that he's going to die. And actually, that freed him from all the worldly attachments, and he became a disciple of the sage Shukha. So, this actually tells us that if we have to completely get detached from worldly attachments, we have to surrender to a sage who was realized. So, realizing the truth about Lord Krishna, he then gave up his body at the bank of River Ganga. So, and then he says, Sutamani says that those who focus only on Lord Krishna and meditate on his divine stories can experience peace, joy, even in their final moments. As long as King Parikshit ruled, Kali had no power on earth, even though it tried to spread its influence. And this sentence, that is, when Kali appeared on earth, Parikshit recognized it immediately. We know that. Kali represents evil, which spreads like wolf preying on unwise. So, if we have only the worldly knowledge of any subject matter, it can actually lead us to more and more higher the knowledge, more remuneration we can get. That means, and that remuneration in that Kali will hide. So we'll always be more and more ignorant. We will have more and more ego. And that is how it spreads like wolf preying on the unwise. But it avoids those who are strong in their devotion and wisdom. So devotion is always followed by wisdom, or wisdom is always followed by devotion. Either the bhakti and gyan always goes together. If one is more, the other will come, follows. So those who follow this spirituality, or the learn about the science of spirituality, s- they will automatically be, Kali will leave them alone, because they will automatically not be interested in any worldly things. And even if they have, they will always consider it as given by God. They will use it in that way only. So Parikshit had no hatred for Kali, also because he knew that in this age, good deeds bring immediate results. So this is another quality of Kali Yuga. Like in previous three yugas, if even if you think a bad thought, that is considered as a sin. But in Kali Yuga, unless that bad thought has become an action, it will not be considered as a what do you call, it will not give you a result. So it will be bad, but it will not give you a bad result. So if you have the ability to stop it at that thought level. So Parikshit had no hatred for Kali, but he knew that in this age good deeds bring immediate. And even if you have a good thought, that for that thought you will be rewarded, even if it has not become an action. But that is why when we say chant Radhe Radhe internally, whatever new action, everything will give you rewards. But for bad consequences to come your way, it should be made into an action. So good deeds bring immediate results, while bad deeds leads to delayed consequences. So now, Kali's nature is to create confusion and trap the unwise. It is always ready to mislead those who are unprepared. So this is what Sutamani is telling to the Shaunaka Munis. So I have told you the story of King Parikshit because it is connecting it to the divine story of Lord Krishna. So now Lord Krishna's life and deeds are treasure of wisdom. So it's just not about simply listening. It will naturally, not only devotion will come, knowledge also comes with it. Those seeking true happiness should listen carefully to the stories of his virtues and pastimes. So like that he says, then the sages inquires that "O Sutta, may you live a long life." And they say that we are tired from performing these rituals, and listening to these stories of Lord Krishna refreshes us and fulfills us. So, no pleasure in this world, this material world, or any heavenly joys or peace of freedom from birth and death compares to the joy of being in the company of Lord's loving devotees. So, what then he says? They say, what wise person would ever grow tired of hearing? So here he's saying, right, that those who seek true happiness should listen. So he says that we want to listen. And then he says, even the great yogis led by Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, haven't fully described his divine qualities. So please learn, Sutta Muni, learn at Sutta. Please tell us this. We are eager to hear his pastimes. So King Parikshit, then he continues the story. He says, I mean, they say that, please narrate the sacred story of Shrimad Bhagavatam, which brought final liberation to King Parikshit, who reached the feet of Lord Krishna through the teachings of Sage Shuka. So whatever Sage Shuka told to King Parikshit that brought that final liberation to him, please tell us. And actually, this is the point where actually Shukamani is entering our lives also, is what I felt when I was reading this. So Sutta concluded, though my birth is considered lowly, I mean, his mother was of higher caste and father was of lower caste. So he says that it is, scriptures disapprove of it. So I feel blessed today by serving great souls like you, because it will purify me. Simply associating with noble people can remove all sorrow and cleanse one's heart, even for someone like me. So anyone who sincerely calls upon Lord's name, he will come. He will surely reach the highest spiritual goal, because the Lord is limitless in his power and kindness. And that's why he's called as Ananta. And he says that Goddess Lakshmi, when she came out from the Manthan, Sagar Manthan, everybody wanted to marry her. But even she chose the dust of Krishna's feet and wanted to serve him, even though he never sought her in return. He was not, but she chose him. The sacred water, which was offered by Brahma to wash, maybe probably these stories will come in future as we continue our studies on different cantos. So the sacred water which was offered by Brahma to wash the feet of Lord Krishna flowed from his feet and became the Ganga. So he's saying that this Ganga river is actually water used by Brahma to wash God's feet. So when it flowed from his toes, actually, it became Ganga. And this Ganga was so powerful that it cannot come and directly land on earth. So when King Bhagiratha prayed to bring it down, Lord Shiva agreed to, pour this water on his head, and he just opened one small one strand of a hair, and then from where that water started flowing in enough pace that it can land safely without destroying the earth. With such glory, who else, that kind of glory, that is what even the water coming from Lord Krishna has. So who else could deserve the title of Bhagwan, the supreme being? The wise who develop love for him quickly give up. So basically, we should not understand that, oh, he should be considered as Bhagwan and others should not. It's just in this context, when Bhagavatam is there, we are talking about Krishna, therefore he is the supreme. If we take any other book from any other yuga, probably in that book, that Bhagwan will be the supreme. So everyone is same. So the wise who developed love for him quickly gave up their attachment to the body and worldly possessions. Whoever loves him, they will definitely get rid of their attachments to their body or their worldly possessions, and they will reach the highest spiritual state, which is the as a realized soul, which is Paramhamsas, where then their duty becomes non-violence and complete control of their senses. So he says that um, you have asked me to narrate the story. So, just as birds fly as high as they can, scholars also can explain the stories of Lord according to their own understanding, and it will always grow on you. So it's not it's this is just a basic reading of whatever is there, because for me also this is a very beginning. I personally try to search for someone who can teach, but I could not find. We got like a lot of people teaches actually Bhagavad Gita, but Shrimad Bhagavatam, they take one or two cantos, randomly four, five, six like that, but from beginning to end, s- it's difficult to find, and I have not come across. I've been searching for last 2 years actually. So so just as birds fly as high as they can, scholars can explain the stories of Lord Vishnu according to their own understanding. One day, so then he starts the story of how King Parikshit came across sage Shukha. So one day, King Parikshit went hunting in the forest, and after chasing game for some time, he grew tired, hungry, and thirsty. And he was looking around and he saw this ashram. This was the ashram of sage Samika, and he saw this sage with closed eyes sitting in a meditative posture. And also, because he was in meditation, was in deep samadhi, he had completely merged with Brahman, the absolute, and his because and he had no awareness of the outside. His then But King Parikshit was thirsty, exhausted, hungry, and he asked this silent sage for water, and his tongue was dry from thirst, but the sage did not respond. So for some reason, this made him very angry, and the reason actually is because he was wearing a crown which was made of gold, and it is said that Kali was influencing him. So then King Parikshit, who was hungry, thirsty, he started becoming more and more angrier because this sage was not responding, and so he started feeling a hate towards a Brahmin, which he has never felt before. And then, just he because the sage was ignoring him, he suddenly, took a dead snake lying around, and he put it on the sage's neck. So he did this to test if the sage was truly in meditation or just ignoring him on purpose. But when the sage's son, who was Shringi, when he came to know that King Parikshit has done this, he felt angry. And he said, how unfair are these rulers? They are like greedy crows. How dare they insult Brahmanas? And he also says that Kshatriyas, um, Brahmanas, because of their nature, serves chooses to serve them. They don't have to, because they're Brahmanas means not by caste or anything. Anybody who has realized God is actually Brahmana. They are God in themselves. So he's saying that how, at least at those times it was like that, not in Kali Yuga, but those times it was like that. So he's saying that they choose to serve them, they choose to guide these Kshatriyas so that they can basically go and do good to the people. But then he's saying that how unfair these rulers are. They how dare they insult Brahmanas? They are supposed to guard them like gatekeepers. How dare a guard act like a master and act this way? So he says that now that Lord Krishna is no more, who punishes the wicked, because he's not there, I will punish those who will break the rule. So because in within them they know, that it could be that he's having a sense of superiority, or it could be that he's coming from a sense of knowing that he's also a Brahmana and he is God's Amsha, and there is no difference. So just watch how powerful I am. So he then sipped water from the Kaushiki river, and his eyes turned red with anger. Filled with rage, he spoke a curse. In 7 days, Takshaka, the serpent king, will bite the man who dared to insult my father. And after cursing the king, the boy returned to his home. So when he came home, all this happened when he found out that this happened. So when he came home, he saw actually his father sitting with a dead snake around his neck, and he became very upset and he started crying loudly. And hearing his cries, now Sage actually opened his eyes and he saw this dead snake lying around. He threw it off and he asked his son, "What happened? Why are you crying? Who has hurt you?" So then the boy told everything that has happened, but instead of praising his son, the sage said, "Oh, my foolish child, you have made a terrible mistake. King Parikshit, he does not, not only King Parikshit says, this king does not deserve a harsh punishment for such a small offense. A king is not an ordinary person. He actually takes care, that is, he ensures the sustenance of people. So he represents Lord Vishnu on earth. He protects the people and keeps them safe from harm." And then he's actually telling his son that what will happen if a king is not there. He says that if a strong and just king like him is gone, thieves and troublemakers will take over, and chaos will happen. World will fall apart like a sheeps without a shepherd. And when the king dies, the thieves will rob the property. Uh, and there will be chaos, lawlessness, robbery will become widespread. People will fight, abuse each other, steal cattle, women, wealth. In And he says, in such times, the noble way of life, based on the teachings of Vedas, will collapse. Social order will collapse. Um, and society will fall into confusion and will be driven by greed and pleasure, behaving like dogs and monkeys. Then he says, he- King Parikshit is also a devoted servant of Lord. He was a royal sage because he was from royalty. He was a king, but his um, the actions were like a sage, very self-controlled, detached, a devotee, great devotee of Lord, even before birth and afterwards. All his actions were so righteous. So he was like a sage. And he was also, he got, even when his horoscope was being told by Brahmanas, they said he will be like kings from Ikshvaku family, right? Like Lord Rama. So he was a royal uh, person, but he was a sage, and he has performed many horse sacrifices for the welfare of the people. He was overwhelmed by hunger, thirst, and exhaustion, and that is why he did that. And he was not in the right state of mind. So it is said that even if a person is not in the right state of mind, even government let him go, right? So he says that he did not deserve to be cursed, and may God forgive this sin committed by this child whose understanding is still immature against his innocent servant, which is King Parikshit. And then Sutamuni makes a general advice that he's saying that even when a sage is insulted, deceived, abused, ignored, or attacked, which happened with Sage Shamika, true devotees of the Lord never retaliate, even though they have the power to do so, because he was already one with Brahman at that point. The great sage Shamika was saddened by his son's mistake. Um, and then he says that, Sutamuni continues that holy men in this world neither grieve nor rejoice over the actions of others, and they remain in unaffected, rising above the three gunas. So he was unhappy because his actions will lead to more chaos. Mm, so this ends the chapter 18, and we are now in the final chapter 19. So Parikshit takes a vow of fasting till death, and Shuka pays a visit to him. So let's see what happens. Um, the king felt deeply troubled by his shameful behavior and thought, oh no, I acted like a lowly person and behaved disgracefully towards that innocent Brahmana. So, this is the quality of a devotee, which is a really truthful person, that even though they have done some mistake, knowingly or unknowingly, their mind becomes very, very active and it will not let them sit quietly. So that's what happening here, that now his mind is saying that he acted like a lowly person, he behaved disgracefully towards that innocent Brahmana who possessed hidden supernatural spiritual powers. Because of the disrespect I showed, he says that, let um a terrible calamity come upon me, let it happen to me directly as a punishment for my sin, so that I can never repeat it, such an offense again. Let the fire of the Brahmana's anger destroy my kingdom, army, wealth, and that way I will be free from these sinful thoughts. How could I insult a Brahmana? And then he hears that the news that the Brahmana's son has cursed him, that he will die in 7 days from the bite of the serpent king, Takshaka. So I've already heard that story where Takshaka was displaced from the forest, and he had a grudge against the Pandava lineage. So then, but King Parikshit, when he came to this understanding that he's going to die, instead of fearing, he thought that this is actually a blessing. He was already contemplating on I'll be free from sinful thoughts towards Brahmana gods. He was really thinking of, only if I get punishment, I will learn this lesson, that I will get detached from these thoughts, that and I'm not a great, my actions are not good and all of that. So he thought it would help him detach from the material world and develop true dispassion. So he took it as a grace. And then he renounced the world and all its attachment, recognizing that only serving, adoration of Lord's feet was the only goal worth pursuing. And he goes to River Ganga resolved to fast until death. And why he chose River Ganga? Because it originates from the feet of the Lord. It is considered as holiest of all waters. It carries the dust of Lord Krishna's feet mixed with tulsi leaves, and it sanctifies all the three worlds because it is coming from Mahavishnu. So it sanctifies all the three worlds, purifies even heavenly deities like Indra. So he thought to himself that what better place to spend my final days than on the bank of this sacred river. From firm in his resolve, Parikshit renounces his worldly attachment, takes the life of a hermit. His mind becomes solely focused on all whatever he knows or whatever he heard till now on Lord Krishna. He focuses on that with unwavering devotion. But still, he's not sure that what he should do at this moment. At that time, and when he reaches Ganga, he places himself, and there actually great sages along with their disciples gather at the Ganga to bless him. So they come there. These were saints with of immense spiritual power who often consecrated holy places with their presence. So they knew that this happened, and they are coming here. Not They are not coming here to visit Ganga, but they are actually coming here to consecrate the place with their presence, and in a way trying to bless King Parikshit. So, known for bringing sanctity to wherever they go, these sages come under the pretext of visiting holy places, but they consecrate those places by their presence. So, who all came? Rishi Atri, Vasishta, Chavana, Saradvan, Arishtanemi, Brigu, Angira, Parashara. All these people will come in Shrimad Bhagavatam, different stories, and they're all devotees. So Parashurama, Utatya, Indra, Pramada, so many, Maitreya, Aruva. So lot of sages Vedyas came, Agastya Muni came, Narada, many other distinguished sages, both celestial and royal. They all came and they sat in presence of King Parikshit. After they were comfortably seated, he bowed to them with folded hands and humbly shared his intention to fast till death. Speaking with a pure and sincere heart, the king said, he's representing all the kings, so noble kings, and he's saying we are truly the most blessed among all monarchs because we have earned the grace of such noble souls. It is said that when one person actually gets liberated, he's not getting liberated alone. All his ancestors, all his lineage up and until that point, and they say that even the next 7 generations, they become free from all kinds of sins, um and gets liberated. At least those people who've gone, they get liberated. So that's why he's saying that we and sadly the ruling class is often deprived of the privilege of bearing on their heads the sacred water used to feed wash the feet of brahmanas. He's saying that I'm so lucky that you are here and your feet has touched the holy water, and I'm able to take I will be able to put that water on my head and get purified. But sadly, it's this happens very rarely because our right deeds are often far from righteous. For someone like me who has lived sinfully and remained deeply attached to worldly life, the Lord Himself, who rules the entire universe, has appeared in the form of the curse. So he's saying, even in the previous chapter, I've mentioned, right? We should never see something as good and bad. Um, it is just that whether our action is boosting our ego or making us more humble. So and that will determine which way we are going. So he's saying that, see, this is actually, it could have made him very angry to that snake. He could have pursued Takshaka. He could have done a lot of things. But he's thinking it as a um instead of curse, as a boon. And he's saying that for someone like me, Lord Himself, who rules the entire universe, has appeared in the form of this curse. This curse has awakened in me a sense of detachment from the worldly pleasures. And such a curse helps those who are deeply attached to the world. Let the Brahmanas who have gathered here know that I have come for to them for protection. I have come here for protection as a devoted servant of Lord. And if anybody among you who are who is personified as a Brahmana and is actually Takshaka, as destined you may bite me, but meanwhile I request you all to sing the glories of Lord Vishnu, because I just want to hear that, right, as of this moment. And he bows to them, and he says that I pray that in my next birth, I pray that in every future birth I may be blessed with unshakable devotion to Lord Sri Krishna, deep attachment to noble souls who depend on him, and true friendship with all living beings. Thus resolved, he sits on the bank. And then he when that happens, everybody, even the heavens, rejoices and showers flowers on him, while drums echoes in the sky. The great sages who have assembled there, they praises the King Parikshit's action, and they say that there's no wonder that their encouraging words, they praises him, saying, "Splendid," and their encouraging words filled the king with joy and inspired him further as he reflected on virtues of Lord Krishna, whatever he knows up until that time, who's known for for his divine greatness. And then he the sages then says that it is not surprising for you, because you are the descendant of Pandavas, and you who were already devotees of Lord Krishna, so eager to be near the Lord, you have given up this imperial throne, and it is not easy to give up all your attachments, but you were able to do it. And people want to uh, cling on to their loved ones up until last moment. And but it such a spiritual maturity is being shown by you, that you are ready to give up all of this. And we shall all stay here until this great king, the foremost among the devotees of the Lord, leaves his mortal body and ascends to the highest realm. So we'll be here. They tell him, they you know appreciate and increases his morale. And the Lord's eternal, uh, so we'll be here till he ascends to the highest realm, the Lord's eternal abode, beyond Maya and free from all sorrows. Hearing these words from the sages, impartial, full of deep meaning, and spoken with sweetness, he bows down to them with respect. The sages who had become one with the Supreme Spirit were ready to share stories. So whatever they know, who they were all self-realized. So they were ready to, like Ved Vyas, Narada. So whatever they know, they were ready to share the stories of Lord Vishnu. And um, filled with eagerness, the king responds that, uh, like the Vedas, in Satyalok, I mean, in abode of Lord Brahma, all of these Vedas are visible, like in a personified form, like that. You have all gathered here from every direction, and you seek no personal gain either in this world or next. Your only purpose is to do good for others, which is your very nature, and that is the nature of Bhagwan, that he actually wants only good for others, and he will be there near the true devotees. Resting my faith in you, O Brahmanas, I humbly ask you a question, the most important question one could ask. And then he asks the question, please tell me, after due thought, what path should be followed by all in every situation, especially by someone who's about to die. So, what should I do? What path should I take? I'm asking this not only for myself, but for everyone. Because if King Parikshit, who was a human, if he has not taken this Shrimad Bhagavatam will not be here in front of us. We would never know this knowledge. So he says, and after this only, Srimad Bhagavatam came into being, and in the Mahatmyam we learned, right, in the Kali Yuga, the stories was the Bhakti Devi and her sons. So everything came. So this was the beginning. So at that very moment, uh, Shukhamuni, the divine son of Vyasa, arrived there, wandering freely across the earth, followed by some women and children. So wherever he was very handsome, so wherever he was going, he was followed by someone or the other. So he was completely indifferent to worldly matters and showed no visible signs of belonging to any particular varna or ashrama. We've seen that that story where Ved Vyas was crying out to his son. His son, became a 12-year-old boy. He was all naked and clan, and he was running away from his father, and father followed, and the ladies were he went through the ladies, but ladies were not shy. But the moment the Ved Vyas came, they started covering themselves. So they said that we saw that there is no element of ego identification with gender in your son, but with you we saw that. That's why we cover ourselves. So that kind of a personality is what Shri Shuka was. So he was completely indifferent to worldly matters and showed no visible signs of belonging to any particular varna or ashrama. He was fully content with the realization of his self and appeared like a detached ascetic. Shukha was only 16 years old. He had tender feet, hands, thighs, arms, and shoulders with a perfectly proportional frame. His beautiful face glowed with youth, adorned with large eyes, a prominent nose, symmetrical ears, lovely eyebrows, and a corn shaped neck. His collarbone was hidden beneath his fleshy frame. His broad chest stood out, his navel was deep and shaped like a pearl, and his belly was adorned with three charming folds. So he came. He was completely naked. His hair was loosely falling over his face. His long arms and radiant presence made him resemble a god of highest order. And then it talks about further his appearance. He had dark complexion, youthful charm, graceful limbs, sweet smile, captivated everyone which captivated everyone. Though he appeared almost wild and eccentric, he concealed, because of this external features that he had, nobody could see that he was actually really spiritual and self-realized. So he concealed his spiritual brilliance beneath his outward appearance. Still, the wise sages recognized his divine nature from his unmistakable feature and immediately stood up from their seats to receive him with respect. So they understood, because they can know. So they stood up, and they Parikshit, which is King Vishnu Ratha, because he was saved by Lord Vishnu, Sri Krishna himself. He humbly bowed to the divine sage who had come to him uninvited. And the ignorant women and children withdrew, and the sage, worshipped by all, took an exalted seat. So he sat there. He also came and he came just like everyone else. He also came and he sat there, surrounded by Brahmana sages, royal sages, and celestial sages. Sage Shukha, the greatest among the great, shone brightly like the moon shining in the midst of planets, constellations, and earth and stars. When Shukha, the sage of unfailing wisdom, had settled in his seat, King Parikshit bowed to him, touched his feet with his head, and stood respectfully before him. And Parikshit says that, "O holy sage, how blessed we are today. We lowly Kshatriyas have been honored by your visit. By coming to us as a guest, you have purified with your presence." He says one very beautiful thing, that simply remembering a saint like you purifies a person's home. How much more so by seeing you, touching you, washing your feet, and offering you a seat. Your very presence, O great yogi, destroys sins instantly, even the worst sins, such as just as Lord Vishnu destroys the demons by his presence. So he was truly, truly blessed. And surely Lord Sri Krishna, the friend of Pandavas, must be pleased with me. It is because of his love for his cousin, the Pandavas, that he has shown kindness even to me. So he could not believe his, luck or what blessing. Then he says that otherwise, how could we, mere human beings, especially someone like me, who's at the brink of death, be blessed with the privilege of seeing you? You, whose moments are so mysterious, who have fully realized the ultimate goal of human life, and who dwell in the solitude of the forest. So it's very rare that someone who self-realized comes out and, even though Sri Krishna says that that is how it should be, but people choose to because they see that this is all a divine leela, or the play, and then they knows that everything is orchestrated, and every single person will become realizes it's not just a cup of few people or something. So they tend to live recluse. Some choose not to. So he says that who have fully realized the ultimate goal of human life, who dwell in the solitude of forest. uh, th- um, I'm so lucky that I have this privilege of seeing you. So, therefore, O greatest teacher of the yogis, I ask you to explain the nature and means of attaining the highest realization. This is that, please let me know, let us all know that how can we attain this highest realization? What is the duty of a man who is on the verge of death? Furthermore, kindly tell me what all people in general should do. All what should be our actions, what they should hear, what they should speak about, what they should meditate on, and what they should pursue and what they should avoid. So, after all, O venerable sage, it is rare for someone like you to visit householders, even for a brief time it takes to milk a cow. That, as I said, like, it is very rare for them to even appear in the world, and it is even rare for people to gather around them or listen to them. Most of them will say that, nah, what are they talking, they will not even understand. So they will kind of make something on their own, whatever their mind says, and they go about their way. So he says that it is rare for someone like you to visit householders, even for a brief time. It takes to milk a cow, and now you are here. And please answer my questions. Please help me. And Sutam continues that Sutamuni is saying, addressed in these soft and humble words by the king, the divine Shuka, son of Badarayana and a knower of Dharma, began to reply. So now, which is Ved Vyasa, son of Ved Vyasa, he begins to reply. So this finishes this canto. So iti prathama skanda samaptah hari om tatsat. So we are very very lucky. And I am so grateful for you guys to given me an opportunity to learn this, and even to God, uh, that I really wanted to learn this, and I got a platform, and I got people who could help me in this, and it's probably helping you also. So thank you so much. Next week onwards, we'll continue our discussion on Canto 2. Anybody has any question? Sandhya?
Yes, Dee, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
I have no questions, but this was, I think, a great topic to be discussed. Like historically understanding how Shrimad Bhagavatam kind of was written for us, right?
Yes. And finally, Shukhamani has come, and finally, Shrimad Bhagavatam will start.
And
And
I never knew these descriptions about Shukdev ji, like how he looked and his personality, like the way it was described today.
Hmm.
Shukdev has a parrot face, right?
Actually, it is in his previous Janma, he was a parrot. So I don't know whether he had a parrot face or not, but he was born.
Yeah, I think he has been described as being having a parrot face. I
Yeah, I
don't
have
know.
seen images of him having a parrot face. But I don't know.
That's one thing. The other thing which I had a question, I was thinking, why did Parikshit, you know, having been good all his life, had to do that, step of putting the snake around the sage? I, I don't know if, having the gold crown was the answer, because he was a king, right? He would have had the gold crown all the time, most of the time, right?
Hmm.
So that means he might not have been doing good otherwise as well. I think it. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know. I think one is not supposed to ask too many questions on Bhagavatam, I think.
No, no, it's not like that. I mean, we can have a constructive discussion, right? So,
So what do you think? Like, is it? I think, like the sage explained, the only thing which can be explained is extreme hunger, and this one kind of blinded him, because sometimes when we get really hungry, we get very angry as well,
hmm.
right? And might shout at someone, which otherwise we might not, and all that stuff.
Yes, and even though he was righteous, he was in Kali Kals, and probably
Mm.
we can say that Kali was waiting for the right opportunity, because he had
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
right to be in the gold. And sometimes, and that situation also made him so confused that he could not differentiate between what is his thoughts and what is being influenced. And even I hear that, when our everything is personifications, right? So we hear in the Devi Bhagavatam, right, Devi is finishing off all these kama, krodha, lobha, moha, and they are actually demons. And the Rakta Bij has, further makes many, and it's actually representing mind and the continuous flow of thoughts that comes. So it could be that uh, it just like, a small thought, Kali just inspired that and put it in his head, and he got carried away. So it could be that.
Yeah. And my mother used to tell a story about Parikshit's son, who is Janmejaya.
Hmm.
Janmejaya, because he's angry that his father got bitten by a snake, he goes about trying to destroy all the snakes on earth. And of
Yes.
course, stops short because of a particular reason. But the reason why my mom used to say was she used to, because the place where I used to stay, where we used to live, no, there was uh, like a land of this one with water, marshy waters and all those things at the behind this one. There used to be a um, wall, but on the other side it used to be a marshy land, and there were frogs and obviously snakes and all that stuff. They We haven't seen many of them. At least we were pretty safe. But we used to say a shloka at night, asking, like it'll say, Janme Jese Gyante Asti Kavachanam Smaran, which means remember what Janmejaya did to you, so don't come and attack. We used to say that and feel much safer going to sleep. Just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Kumarji. I mean, it was wonderful to know, we have, even our parents have become so busy, and we rarely get to hear these, gem of our elders, telling these things. And thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you so much. So, okay, Sandhya,
And again, I just want to thank you for, of course, you did the most work, and then kind of uh, beautifully narrated this as mentioned in the previous this one also. And of course, you get a lot of punya by doing this, and we also get a little bit of punya by
no,
hearing this.
equal, equal.
So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Even if you were there, um, I was ready to say it because, as you said, God decides who needs to hear this, and who's they are missing basically. So I don't know, when I finished my my Bhagavad Gita, this desire was planted in me in 2002 to 22, that I need to, and 21 actually, that I want to study Shrimad Bhagavatam. And on the new year, people from ISKCON actually, they were distributing book, and my husband got the whole set of Shrimad Bhagavatam on 1st January 2022, and I got it, and I was so happy. So Krishna entered life, and then now in 2024 he's making sure that, because I told you that I tried to find someone who can teach, but he ensured that all the incidents, all the events happened, and it led to this point, where people agreed that yes, we can study this. So it's all Krishna's doing.
Yeah,
So,
beautiful. Yeah, I think I'm one of the people who probably might not have started on the Bhagavatam more. I'm more a Bhagavad Gita kind of a person. But somehow, like I think I came to this because Rajesh ji also takes classes in that JK Yoga thing.
hmm,
And I used to skip that because, of course, he takes it in a very different fashion. He has songs and all these things and all that stuff, uh, which, of course, not that I don't like it, but somehow, some of the things seem so not natural kind of a thing. Then I always make it up saying, okay, God, I'm not going to question that. God can do anything, obviously, right? So, but yeah, I think the way you have narrated it and making it nicely like a story. Uh, yep. Thank you so
thank
much.
you. Thank you so much. I mean, it inspires me to continue it. So thank you. So actually, I had this. Uh, Sandhya was asking one question. Sandhya, can you repeat? Actually,
Yeah,
I really forgot.
I was asking a question.
Was it? I don't know. I mean,
No,
you
no,
said something.
so just you guys said it all. Like, thank you. That I think it was said beautifully by Kumarji also. Like, and it's like it's the right time for each one of us. When is it that we are supposed to hear? Even if
Hmm.
I'm hearing everything, I'm not grasping everything. There will be a right time for me to do that. So I don't know. So it's just all, as you said, everything planned by Krishna. But being his instrument in helping us understand this, you are really I mean, I'm grateful to you. So thank you.
Mutual.
And Kumarji also for being so consistently participating and actively uh, participating in this so that we all can learn together and grow together.
And one day, Ravi actually
Huh?
like sent me saying, "Oh, we are just four people. Why don't you join?" So that's the first time I joined. So
Oh,
now he doesn't join, but I join.
yeah. We'll have to ping Raviji.
Yeah,
How?
we'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's available in YouTube also, so
Actually,
probably that's why.
I am stopping the recording.